Assalamualaikum, sir. Today, I'm Muhammad Hanif bin from J4EC1104J2 will present about mini project 2. For table of content, we have introduction, methodology, findings, discussion, conclusion, and reference. For introduction, the first one. What is permeability of soils? Soil permeability or hydraulic conductivity is the rate of the flow of water through soil materials, and it is essential characteristic across a broad spectrum of engineering and earth science discipline. Geotechnical and civil engineer, hydrogeologists, and environmental scientists all use this information for projects such as structural foundation, embankment, flood management, effluent infiltration, and more. It's so surprised that porosity and permeability of soil are related. For factors that affect soil permeability, we have the first one is hydraulic gradient, second soil type, third texture, and the last one is particle size distribution. We can use Darcy law, which dictates all results from soil permeability test. It's an equation describing the movement of fluid through a porous medium. This equation defines the coefficient of permeability or hydraulic conductivity of soils, a ratio of fluid velocity through the soil matrix to the hydraulic gradient. For permeability testing, we have two constant head tests that refers to an apparatus where the same relative elevation of the top of the water column, head pressure, is known as head pressure, remains over the sample throughout the test. It is a valid test for soil with a high rate of flow like sand and gravels, but also some clay and soils. For the second one is falling head test that allows the head to decrease as water infiltrates the sample, diminishing the pressure over the course of the test. Falling head methods are generally limited to fine-grained soil. We will do field permeability observation. Other than that, for introduction, we will use suitable equipment to conduct tests if in the lab. The first one is flexible wall permeability cells that measure hydraulic conductivity of soil using several methods. Second is constant head permeameters that measure the coefficient of permeability of non-plastic soils with no more than 10% of particle passing. The last one is falling head parameters that allow the option of testing granular soil under either constant head or falling head condition, but do not meet published ASTM or AAS-H2O test method requirement. For methodology, the first one, we will prepare two samples of soil, and it is gravel and light soil. The second one is gather all the equipment needed, such as container, funnel, cotton, stopwatch, and water that will be used and needed. Third one is measure the diameter of container. We need to measure the diameter of container so that we can calculate the volume of water. 4 is place the container with the funnel. 5 is take a small pieces of cotton and put it at the hole of funnel. It is to make sure that sample, gravel, and light soil did not reach to the bottom of the container. The sixth one is put a little bit pressure to cotton during the process so that the cotton will be fixed properly. 7 is the soil sample will be put into the funnel. 8. We will pour 180 mm of water to the soil sample. Start the stopwatch when pour the water begins for number 9. For number 11, stopwatch will be end when the water totally stops through the soil sample. 12. We will record the time taken for the water to get through the soil sample by using stopwatch. 13. Record the height of water in container. Make sure that level of ice is same with level of water so that we will get the correct reading. 14 is clean the equipment for another test. 15, the last one is repeat step 4 until 14 with different types of soil sample. For discussion. Based on my soil permeability project, I found out that what ratio and size of particle have relationship with soil permeability. Important finding that I can find is porosity of the soil. Gravel soil have the high porosity than light soil because gravel have more space between particles. And the formula for porosity, we can use volume of void divided by total volume and times 100%, or porosity equal to total volume minus by volume of solid divided by total volume and times by 100%. For particle size of distribution, we have gravel, because gravel is 13 until 32 mm, and light soil is small than 0.002 mm. For shape and orientation of the soil, for gravel we can say that the shape is sub-rounded to rounded, and light soil is spherical shape. We can see the orientation of the soil at the picture that I have been put. And for the viscosity of soil, it depends to amount of water. For factors that affect the permeability, we have particle size, that it was studied by Allenhazen that the coefficient of permeability of a soil is directly proportional to the square of the particle size. The second one is impurities of water. The presence of impurities in soil decreases the permeability of soils. The third one is void ratio. The coefficient of permeability varies with the void ratio. And next is degree of saturation. If the soil is not fully saturated, it contains air pockets. The permeability is reduced due to presence of air, which causes a blockage to the passage of water. Consequently, the permeability of a partially saturated soil considerably smaller than of fully saturated soil. In fact, Darcilla is not strictly applicable to such soil. And we have absorbed water. Fine-grained soil have a layer of absorbed water strongly attached to their surface. This absorbed layer is not free to move under gravity. It causes an obstruction to the flow of water in the pores and hence reduce the permeability of soils. According to Casagrande, it may be taken as the void ratio occupied by absorbed water, and the permeability may be roughly assumed to be proportional to the square of the net void ratio. And the last one is entrapped air and organic matter. It will block the passage of water through soil, hence permeability considerably decrease. In permeability tests, the sample of soil used should be fully saturated to avoid errors. For precaution issue, we need to wear gloves when cut the bottle plastic to avoid any accident that will injure our finger. Next, know what to do with any accident. third is didn't drink or eat during test because the food can be poison. 4 is for human error. Make sure that the value is read with parallel with the water level. And the last one is we need to make sure that stopwatch working properly before doing the test. For important findings, gravel has the highest permeability, which means better than like soil, and supporting facts have the characteristic of permeability, which have big particle size, rate ratio high, absorb water low. That is the supporting facts. For conclusion, in conclusion, I successfully conducted a soil permeability test with 2 types of sample. Besides that, I could show appropriate technique to soil engineering problem with an awareness of their limitation. For this test, they have 2 problems that could be improved. The first problem is about equipment. I need to find a proper equipment for the experiment. For example, flexible wall permeability cell, constant head parameter, or falling head parameters, because I only use funnel that made from plastic bottle, and it surely will affect the result of my test. So it will make the result much more accurate. For the second one is about teamwork. It will be a problem if only one person to conduct the experiment. So it will be more easier if have a partner to help in the experiment. For example, during the process, pouring the water, we need to start the stopwatch at the same time. So it will be difficult for one person. So working in the partner is much easier. And I have 3 references here. Thank you.